Everybody. Welcome to our virtual welcome reception. My name is Taylor DeLine, and I am the Assistant Director of Parent Philanthropy and Engagement here at UC Irvine. I'm thrilled to have you here, and I'm excited for you to be a part of the Anteater family. And today is all about connecting, learning, and discovering how you can be an active and engaged member of our community. We have a great agenda planned for today. Just so you know, we'll start by discussing the various ways that you can get involved as a parent, from supporting your students' journey to joining events and initiatives that make a real difference on campus. Then you'll have a chance to hear from some of your active parents and alumni through panel discussions where they will share their insights, stories, and experiences. We hope that you leave feeling more connected, inspired, and excited about being part of the Anteater family. And with that being said, before I dive into sharing all about the Parent and Family Engagement Department, I'd like to share a fun 2-minute video that I think perfectly captures the fun and quirky spirit of the Anteater family that you are now officially a part of.
The number one thing that I miss about going here is talking to professors and stuff. I just really miss that environment of open nature.
In 1977, I was a nationally ranked chicken judge.
Wow.
And that skill set doesn't have much value today.
Was that better?
I can guarantee you it will be much better.
Let me think.
I'm supposed to not say sorry when I dance too, so this is really good practice. I didn't say that. That's not on camera. Sorry.
You see, I gave me an opportunity. And to see that in June I'll be graduating, I'll be 1% of a population in Uganda of women who have had an education.
The actual real story of the development of the dynamic cooling device. The idea actually came to me in a bar called the Rusty Pelican in Newport Beach. Bruce Tromber doesn't like it, but that story is true.
And that's cool.
I'll be able to bring everything that I've learned and go back to my community and help them in the way that the mentors that I grew up with were able to help me.
I'm Marius Papaefthimiou. I'm the Dean for the Donald Brand School of Information and Computer Sciences.
Papa Efthimiou. I had his assistant coach me for like an hour.
I have never had a problem saying that before, so.
It's Papa, and then think of like F the mayo. Where do I go with that?
Yeah, imagine that. Actually, let's scratch that whole thing.
Okay, it's better the way it is.
Now you do know who you're talking to, Bill Maurer. I've won the coveted Zot Award twice. And Greg Washington.
Zot, zot, zot.
Zot, zot, zot.
Zot, zot, zot!
Zot!
Zot.
Zot.
Zot!
Zot. Zot.
Zot.
Zot!
Zot.
Zot!
Zot.
Zot!
Zot.
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 Zot. Zot. Zot.
Zot.
Zot!
Zot. Zot.
Zot. Zot.
Zot. Zot. Zot. Zot.
Zot. Zot.
Zot.
Zot.
All right. I love that. I love the enthusiasm. Okay. Well, as I mentioned, my name is Taylor DeLine, and I work as the Assistant Director of Parent Philanthropy and Engagement on the Parent and Family Engagement team. And our role is really, we are here to connect you to opportunities, to resources, and to each other so that you can make the most out of your Anteater experience. I work on a team of 4, as you can see, which includes Marissa Norris, who's the Senior Director of Engagement Programs. We have Christina Naya, Senior Associate Director of Parent Engagement, and Marvel Johnson, who's the Events Associate, as well as myself. Our office has a few ways that you can stay connected. I recommend, if you haven't already, certainly sign up for our newsletter. We send out a monthly newsletter where we collaborate with different campus partners to learn about what events, initiatives, or resources are most important and helpful for students as well as parents. And you can use the QR code there to sign up. We have a very active social media presence. So we have a Facebook page as well as an Instagram, and we love to share wonderful opportunities all the time on our social media. So I highly recommend giving us a follow. And we also did just actually redo our entire website with parents in mind. So we really wanted to be a one-stop shop for parents where we had tons of resources, tons of information that was user-friendly and easily navigable for parents to use. So we hope that you find it as helpful as we do. For those of you who want to get more involved, we love our parent volunteers. It's a great way to get connected to the university, to build friendships, and to learn more about what's going on and to build those kind of close-knit relationships with even program directors, sometimes leadership as well. And there's really, truly many ways to get involved. It's not just a one-way ticket. You could do in-person or even online volunteering. You can host as an event host, which looks something like having a gathering or reception at your home or a location, acting as a point of connection to the university with the help of UC Irvine staff. You could be a parent panelist like you will see here tonight to share your experience with new Anteaters and their families. You could be a corporate partner, which looks like sharing your career expertise, corporate matching gifts, or working with UC Irvine to hire newly graduated or current students to your organization. And for those who are tech savvy, being a social media liaison, you could spread the word on upcoming events, programs, and campaign goals to your network. As well as any parents who speak a separate language, an additional language to English, we're always looking to share the message to Anteaters and families all around the world. We have Anteaters everywhere. And if we can help with translation of documents or even via Zoom to share the message, we welcome you guys to sign up as a volunteer so we can utilize you in that way too. We also have a parent executive board, which is a dedicated group of impassioned parents looking to deepen their involvement and connection to the university and campus partners, to engage in specialized events and support the success of Anteaters across the campus. The Parent Executive Board is a philanthropic board, and they spearhead something called the Anteater Grant Initiative, whose efforts in 2023 raised nearly $50,000 in support of multiple student-facing programs and resources, such as the Basic Needs Center's grocery program, mental health support through student outreach programs for the Counseling Center, career resource outreach for the Division of Career Pathways, and wellness programs for the Entrepreneur Center aimed to teach students to prioritize their well-being, just to name a few. And if you'd like to learn more about our board connection or reach out to myself, or please reach out to myself or Marissa, and we would be happy to share more with you. If you have any questions, please let us know. We'd love to share. I know our team looks forward to learning more about you and finding meaningful ways to connect you to the Anteater family. And I'm now going to actually turn it over to May, who will share a little bit about the Alumni Association, followed by an alumni panel, so you can get to know some of our wonderful Anteater alumni.
Yes, thank you, Taylor. I appreciate that. Hello, all. Yes, let me pull up a presentation real quick. So I have a short portion, but we'll be giving most of my time over to our amazing alumni panelists. So let me pull this up. So first off, I know we're on a webinar, but I'd love to see some of the reactions of just please congratulate yourselves, our students, our parents, because you are now attending the 7th most selective university in the US. So big round of applause. I hope you get your favorite dinner tonight, things like that, because that's a huge feat, especially being part of the University of California system. So I hope you're all excited to start your journey here. My name is May Wilson. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Relations with the UCI Alumni Association. So I'm all about building that student, I love all the reactions, student to alumni pipeline. And I have a great love for UC Irvine. So I am an alumni, graduated in 2017. Very grateful that I got my first job here after graduating with the Student Center. And now I'm on the other side of the student journey here at the Alumni Association. And on a personal level, I'm at the love of my life here. So UCI has a very big place in my heart. And I just love to convey to all of you how alumni might be something associated with once you're graduated, but it's actually something that we hope you think about every step of the way and use it to its full extent and resources. So yeah, for our students, you have chosen an incredible university to call home. Have some facts here that you can go back to your friends and family and brag about, but just a few to point out. UC Irvine is in the top 10 public institutions in the United States. And we also really focus, being the top 10, right? We have to focus and make sure that all of our populations of students are taken care of. And so we are proud to say that we are number 3 in the nation for diversity. You'll see those 2 acronyms there. For those who don't know, HSI is Hispanic Serving Institution, and AANAPISI is Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander Student Serving Institution. So we really make sure that we're taking care of our students wherever they're at in life, and that they can succeed to the best of their ability while they're here at the university. To our parents, you're supporting your students in such an excellent choice. We're a top 10 best value public university. I know this stood out to my parents when applying, so we hope that you all take pride in finding that with the university. We do have a myriad of faculty who are award winners, including 5 Nobel laureates. So that might be your student in the future who's an alumni faculty member. And then to take care of the other side of it, we are also the only ones who have an academic healthcare system in Orange County. So if you've ever driven by on Jamboree, you'll also see that we have 2 new facilities, and we just keep expanding in terms of the healthcare area. So yeah, just a few fun facts that you can go back to your family for those who didn't choose UC Irvine, and kind of brag about it to them. But going into the Alumni Association, so once again, you might be thinking, why would I think about alumni right now? I'm literally just getting into the university. Again, we want you to think of us at every step of the way, because our dedication and our mission is really for us to help build a lifelong connection to the university, starting from your first day as a student. So we have more than 250,000 alumni and growing, which is an amazing feat for being such a young university that we would love to connect and for you all to tap into, because beyond all of the academic courses and resources on campus, we want to make sure that you have access to alumni for their stories, their experiences, just like you have tonight with our alumni panelists. Another resource to you all is we have chapters. So these are basically our communities that are free to join. They're alumni volunteer led, and they're in different areas of interest. So we have academic, we have affinity, cultural, regional, and these are just amazing communities that put on events for students for you to connect at a very early stage for mentorship, advice, things like that. And then the final thing that I do want to point out is that the Alumni Association, beyond the engagement and the relationship side, we do also understand that students need resources beyond that, including financial resources. And so every year, part of our efforts is to make sure that we're raising funds solely for student scholarships. And so that's also something that we want to make sure you all have notification of and can tap into during your time as a student. So we put on, once again, many different events as you're a student. You might think of us just as your first and last stop. So many of you, I hope all of you have signed up for your appointment next week to pick up your new student sweatshirt. For those of you who don't know, this is a tradition that was started a little bit back for students to be able to identify each other, since the color and the font change each year. So you can see another student wearing a sweatshirt and be like, hey, we're the same class, and have that kind of connection. So you'll all be picking up your sweatshirt next week. And then we're also your last stop, because once you're ready to cross that stage, 4, 5, 6 years down the line, depending on if you choose research, we are also where we house cap and gown pickup. So that might be your first thought when you're thinking of the Alumni Association. But to be honest, we are really focusing again and building out our engagement at every level for you all. And so we're put on different events that help build the community. So just to call out a few, we have dinners with Anteaters, where we ask alumni to host a dinner for students, have a more casual setting to mentor, ask for advice, things like that. We're really focused on professional development. We know how the job market has been, and so we're really trying to engage more with our alumni to come back, provide resources, provide an alumni back to campus kind of job fair type of thing. And the Anteater network, which you all can join. I do have a QR code at the end. That's our online, basically like a LinkedIn exclusive to our Anteaters, where you can join as soon as you can, once again with the QR code. and tap into all of our alumni who are posting on there. If you have a question about an internship, things like that, it's a great free resource that you can just have as a tab, a bookmark on your browser. And then, of course, once again, we're involved with commencement. We bring back alumni in our series called Beyond Ring Road to just talk about, anxieties of graduation, things like that. But I know that's a little bit further, so I won't go too much into this. But if there's one thing I hope you come out from reading this slide is that we are there for you every step of the way. Beyond, once again, your academic classes, we hope you tap into the stories and the experiences of our 250,000 alumni, and that you see us as more than just a sweatshirt pickup, but as really a resource for you throughout your time here. And so again, next steps for you is just make sure you're registered for your appointment on campus groups for next week. I hope you all are, because these sweatshirts are free and they're pretty cool to wear around Orange County. If you're interested, we do have a Student Alumni Association. So from the get-go, you can be a part of what you believe students need to see more of from alumni. And then that QR code is for you all to join the Anteater network. Again, totally free to join. It's a LinkedIn and a great mentorship platform. And then lastly, just make sure you're connected. We are on social media and we're trying to bump that up, but that's where we'll be posting all of our updates, whether it be our alumni events, whether it be reposting other student organizations on campus. Just add us onto your feed because it's a great resource, again, for free and just being a part of your timeline. But yeah, that is all I have from me. So once again, hope you take away one thing from the Alumni Association. But now I want to turn it over to our alumni panelists. And one thing that I want to offer, being an alumni, is making sure you all have connections and networks and friendships during your time, because it might help you with your job one day, such as mine. All the panelists that you're about to see, I've met at different periods of time in my life at UC Irvine. And I'm so happy that they agreed to join and be a part of this panelist. So now I will stop sharing so we can see them. And I'm going to ask each of my alumni panelists to introduce yourself. If you could tell us your name, your grad year, what you studied at UC Irvine, your current day-to-day, so it might be your job title, your PhD program, things like that. And then, since we are approaching Welcome Week, I would love if you all could share just one tip for our new students and their parents of what you feel they should be doing during Welcome Week. So maybe about move-in, maybe about Anteater Involvement Fair, things like that. So Jackie, if I could start with you. Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie Kuniyoshi. I am a project manager now. I did graduate from UCI in 2013. And one of my tips for, I would say, the first week of school is to be very, very open. It feels awkward. It feels like, oh my gosh, there's so many people. It's a little overwhelming. Am I going to make friends? And you will meet people and you will meet your tribe. And so the first really big event after you go to your convocation, and then after that, you go to Anteater Involvement Fair. There's going to be booths of all the different campus organizations. I promise everybody there, they want to meet you. Everybody wants to be able to have conversations. And so go, even if you don't know who you're going with, just show up because you're going to meet somebody. And that's where I feel like you're going to really launch the year off on a good start.
Thank you, Jackie. Mary Des, can I have you go next?
Hi, everyone. My name is Mari Des Oitiapa. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a 2020 graduate. I was a public health sciences major and sociology minor when I was at UCI, and I'm currently in corporate human resources as a global inclusion coordinator at a talent agency. And a tip I would share, similar to Jackie's, would be to really utilize Move-In and Welcome Week to learn about the different ways to get involved on campus, especially as it is syllabus week and most classes are orientations or introductions. So for me, the biggest thing was really going to the Anteater Involvement Fair and going in there with a plan, actually, because there's so many booths and so many opportunities to get involved. And for me, for example, like one thing I was looking for coming in was looking for a cultural organization maybe that I wanted to join or pre-health. And so, coming in, deciding which events and meetings that I wanted to attend and learn more about. And same thing in general, meeting new people. If you're nervous coming in about not knowing anyone, just know that there are so many people just like you and many who are searching for their community as well. So being open-minded to new opportunities and maybe even orgs that you've never heard about before that might be of your interest and like are super niche, you might discover that and it would be really cool.
Thanks. Odorico, if I can have you go next.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Odorico Sinicolas. I use he, him pronouns. I also graduated in 2020 and I studied education sciences and I specialized in research and evaluation. And so that kind of segues into like the current space that I'm currently occupying. Right now, I'm a PhD student at NYU and I study higher education. I actually study Anteater. So when I saw that slide come up about UCI as Anteater, that was really exciting. In terms of like what I would recommend for the first week, I think I have two things. For students, like echoing what Jackie and Marida said, like definitely go out and get involved and like see all the new opportunities that you can get involved with while you're at UCI. Also give yourself time to process that. Like if you're overwhelmed, that's totally okay. Like you're gonna walk into Aldrich Park and there's gonna be a bunch of booths and you're not gonna know where to start. And I thought I knew where I was gonna start when I went to my involvement fair and I was very wrong and that was okay. And I met other people who were also lost. And I think that was just the beauty of it. And then for parents, I would say it's a busy time the first week, right? Like all your students are getting acclimated, they're meeting new people. And so they might not be the quickest to respond, right? And so like you might want to call and check in and see how they're doing. And it's totally valid. Like my mom was the same way. And there were just times where I couldn't respond in the moment. My mom was like, what's going on here? Like, why aren't you replying? And I think a part of the college journey is kind of letting them go for a little bit, right? Give them the grace to explore and figure out what makes sense for them. So if they're not responding, it's not because they're doing anything bad, but it's they're taking in the new environment that they now get to be a part of. So I'm so excited for all of you. And thanks, Nate, for having me on this panel.
Yeah, thanks for easing the anxieties of our parents. Yenny, can I have you go?
Hello, everyone. My name is Yenny. I actually just graduated this past June in business administration, emphasizing in operations and decision technologies as well as information systems. So over the summer, I was working part-time actually at the UC Irvine Alumni Association as an events assistant. And I ended my position in August. So I'm currently recruiting for positions in the operations and supply chain industry. But my advice for Welcome Week, I would say, is to go to your classroom locations during week 0, because if you're trying to find your classroom the day of or the morning of and you're running late on time, or there's just like so many people on Ring Road, you're gonna get more overwhelmed. So just knowing where you're heading ahead of time will be really helpful to keep your nerves calm and just knowing what to expect on the first day.
Thank you. Thank you all for the introduction. So as you all can see, we have a very diverse panelist board. And this was intentional because I feel like during your time, you're going to twist and turn and everything like that. And so parents, I also want to ease your nerves that there's not really a linear pathway. So the one question that I really have for all of our panelists today is, considering that you're all in different phases of life, what's 1 to 2 key experiences, opportunities, resources, light bulb moments, organizations, anything you can think of that you feel really led to where you're at now in your life? I feel like that would be really helpful for our students to know, not to feel too discouraged if one thing doesn't work out or anything like that. But yeah, if we could start off, Jackie, if I could have you start with yours.
Yes, especially since I didn't share my degree. I did study international studies with an emphasis in global trade investment and finance. And I am now working in the medical education space. And I'm a project manager. And so I think I knew that this is, I didn't know that this space existed. I think that's a big part of it. Didn't realize how much interaction I'd be working with the finance team and working with our business development and just, working on sponsorships. And so, and how that would end up tying in the end with my degree. And a big part of that, I think, was getting a chance to explore. So it was a combination of, in my undergrad, I did work on campus, and I really appreciated having a manager that took an interest in also just what my interests were. So I got an opportunity to already begin project planning in my undergrad, and that's what fueled some of my interest to just kind of keep going in that route. And then there was also the social science resource center. And so through that resource center in social sciences, I was able to tap into the resources where we could learn more about internships. And so I did an internship more on like sustainability. And then I realized that I think that there's so many different things that I could be doing. And so it was great. And so I really would recommend looking at whichever school you're in. They all have them. They all have some kind of resource center to kind of marry a combination of what you study academically, but also wanting to start looking at what you want to do professionally. And then my biggest tip would be to think of things as abundantly. I was so worried my senior year, am I going to get that first job coming out of college? The thing is, it does happen. We have good resources, and if you're willing to put yourself out there, like it does happen. And so I think that was my biggest thing. I look back and I'm like, why was I so worried? But it's so I think that's it. I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you.
No, thank you, Jackie. I appreciate the honesty. Odorico, can I have you go next?
Yeah, I think a couple large shifts in my life kind of brought me to where I am at, like full transparency. When I started my time at UCI, I intended on going to pharmacy school. So I came in as a pharmaceutical sciences major, and in my third year was like, I'm actually not enjoying this. And that was okay. And I think for my mom, it was scary because I was in my third year. But what I realized that I was really curious about was like how students are learning and like how well institutions are serving them. And so following my graduation, I started in institutional research in Irvine. I will caveat that my first job was in the middle of like COVID. And so that was in itself like its own experience. And I think we're kind of back to this normal phase of like what the job application process might have looked like if it wasn't a COVID season for us. But I think my time in institutional research helped me realize that higher education systems, there's a lot of nuance, and I'm really curious about that nuance. And so left that job and moved up to Seattle and did a little bit of consulting there in equity and evaluation. And while I was doing that, realized that I had some bigger questions that I wanted to ask. And so took the chance and applied to NYU and was able to get in. And I'm now working with a really fascinating researcher and an advisor that supports my research interests. And I think that's really important. Yeah. And so I think how that kind of connects is that like I gave myself the space while at UCI to kind of explore my curiosities, and my initial step into research started at UCI actually. So when I was an undergrad, and I think this segues into like what I would recommend students do is my third year when I was switching majors, I was like, I have no idea what the field of education is going to look like in terms of career employment. And so I literally emailed the professor. I had to read a paper that she had written, and I was like, oh, like, this is really interesting. I sent an email and I was like, hey, like if you have any opportunities, like would love to chat to learn more about how to get involved in this type of work. And I think for anyone that's attending UCI or any school, honestly, and kind of to Jackie's point, like reaching out to your schools and your departments, like professors are there and they're willing to meet with you. So I think my recommendation is like tap into those resources, tap into everything that is a part of your tuition at this institution, and take advantage of those resources. Like they're there for a reason. And I think if you make the initial outreach, they'll definitely be happy to help you.
Thank you, Enrico. Maridez, can I have you go next?
Yeah. So as I mentioned a while ago, I graduated as a public health sciences major, and immediately after post graduation in 2020, I was in the public health and health equity space for 3 years, which is exactly where I had hoped to be. And again, keep in mind, I graduated as a public health major into a pandemic in 2020. So I was on a COVID task force and I worked for an amazing nonprofit in Orange County. And my role was really focused on like, community engagement, education, and healthcare access programs, just targeting individuals and communities hardest hit by the pandemic. And it truly was a passion of mine. And I was really grateful that I got to do that like after graduating. But now the entire industry I work in is completely different as I'm now in a corporate setting and more so in the sports and entertainment industry, which honestly, since I was a young girl, was always a dream of mine. And very happy now that I'm here. But I do credit a lot of that transition to the diversity of my involvement at UCI that really shaped my path to get here. I worked an on-campus part-time job at the UCI Student Center and Event Services for 3 years. So I was an operations assistant and project coordinator. And that experience, like working on campus really closely with management, HR, marketing, event operations, like literally everyone, was so helpful and relevant to what I do today and gave me so many of those skills that I use in my professional day to day. And really, I always went back to it. Like after my time at the student center ended, I always went back and was like, wow, I really love that experience and that job. And there were so many aspects to it that I was like, I wish I could do this again in my role. And so, along with that, my main involvement on campus was the student parent orientation program or SPOP that I believe you all are familiar with or have gone through. Another was Kababayan at UCI, which was a Filipino cultural organization where I dedicated my time and gained leadership experience. And that for me was a chosen involvement because it was coming into college, I wanted to find that community and really embrace like my cultural heritage. And lastly, one that was really major part of my experience was the UC Education Abroad program. And during my time, I would go to the Study Abroad Center and learn more about it. I always knew since my first year, when I think it might have been like Welcome Week, actually, I sat in like one of the sessions, or I visited a booth and basically set my mind to saying like, during my time here, this is going to be a goal. I'm going to make it happen. And so that was something really big for me. And that to say, all of those shaped my passion for the work in diversity and inclusion. It gave me a lot of training and background as well. And so I think what I'd want to emphasize here is to never underestimate the fact that like involvement outside of my major have greatly contributed into my journey and like discovering my passions, both in my first career and in my current career. They've all given me a lot of transferable skills. They helped me build my network that opened the door to various opportunities, and I think ultimately have led me to where I am today in my current role. So yeah.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you. And now to our newest alumni, Yenny, if you want to share your experiences.
Yes, so because I'm freshly graduated, I'm not as accomplished as my other counterparts on this panel, but I do want to share that I felt similarly when I was exploring what industry I wanted to pursue in my undergrad, especially as a business major. You have a plethora of industries to choose from like finance, marketing, consulting. And I jumped from every single industry in the past 4 years. And I didn't realize what I wanted to pursue until this past year after, trial and error of, oh, I want to be a part of the finance team. Oh, I actually don't like crunching the numbers like that anymore. And it wasn't until I put myself out there in these different clubs and environments and just learning from people from their industry was when I realized what I actually want to do, which is operations. But throughout all of that industry exploring and career exploring, nothing helped me more than learning from my mentors throughout undergrad. As a first generation student, going into my first year of college, I was seeking out mentorship programs. Like that was like the first thing I was seeking out. And that was in more of a formal setting. But throughout the years, I was able to gain mentors in the more informal setting, whether it was just attending more office hours for my professors, being able to connect more closely with my supervisors at work, or just finding big sister figures on campus and having upperclassmen to learn from. Those are the type of relationships that truly led me to where I am today, whether it was knowing what job I wanted to pursue, opening up a social network for me, or just like driving me to the grocery store because I didn't have a car in my first year. But I would definitely encourage everyone to seek out mentorship, whether it's formally or informally. It will definitely benefit you, and just have people in your corner throughout the next 4 years.
Thank you. Thank you all. I know we ran a little bit over time, so I appreciate though you all sitting through and listening to all of our alumni panelists. Again, this is just a small snippet, and me personally, thank you to all of our panelists, all of my friends here, for sharing your experiences. Because again, the experiences and stories that you all offer are going to ease the nerves, hopefully, of all of our students and parents. I hope you feel a little bit more prepared to go into the unknown with UC Irvine. So. Thank you again to Taylor and Marissa and the whole parent and family engagement team for allowing us to have these alumni stories shared. So,
We are happy that you shared them with us. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your alumni experience with all our Anteater parents and families. I know they really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to invite all the parents and the current students that are here to turn on their video so we can go ahead and get started with the parent panel. All right, wonderful. I'm going to ask all of you to go around and introduce yourself. And obviously, if you're a student, if you could share with us what you're studying and your expected graduation year as well. We can start with Katie and Maddie.
Yes, hi, my name is Katie Young, and I am going into my second year as an Anteater parent. So it was last year was a very exciting year and very eye-opening for us. So and I'll turn it over to my daughter.
I'm Maddie Lee. I'm a sophomore this year. I'm double majoring in art history and dance, and my expected graduation date is 2027.
Awesome. All right, how about Domi?
Hi, I'm Domi Ellis, and my daughter Chloe Ellis is also online, and she's a third year.
Chloe?
Hi, my name is Chloe. I'm entering my fourth year, but just finished my third year. And I am a double major in political science and criminology and law, and also minoring in sociology. And my expected graduation is this coming year, 2025.
Whoa, senior in the house. Awesome. Okay, Ashwani.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ashwini Arya. I am father for Abhigyan Arya, who's in the second year and doing commerce science engineering. And yeah, he couldn't join today. Last minute, he had some project coming up, deadline and all that. So yeah, so we miss him here in this panel.
Well, we're happy that you could join us. I'm actually going to start out with a question for both the students because you both happen to be double majors. And one of the questions that came up from parents and students was, how did you decide to do a double major? What did that look like? How did you come to that conclusion, actually?
I'll go ahead and start. For me, I knew going into UC Irvine, I would like to double major. And so part of that process was looking at actually the major kind of course catalog and seeing what majors were offered and kind of what was sparking my interest. And then from there, I looked into kind of the prerequisites to add that double major. And kind of see what the school requirements were as well, because if you're interested in double majoring, it can be very difficult if there isn't as much crossover between the two majors you're interested in, just because you can't always spread yourself out to, you know, attend all those different classes. So for me, it was really important to kind of narrow down things that were interesting to me, but also were realistic, because if I was going to stretch myself too thin and I came in as a dance major. If I was going to try to do computer science, for example, it was just so different that it would be very, very difficult to balance if I wanted to graduate in 4 years. So for me, coming in knowing that I was interested in double majoring and then narrowing down what I was interested in and then setting up like counseling meetings with counselors at the other schools that I was interested in just to kind of go through the process was really helpful. And then from there, like I think as you take maybe classes that are related to the double major you're interested in, that can help solidify like, is this for me? Is this what I really want to double in? Or maybe it's not what I would like, and maybe I should try something else. And I think I know a lot of people who are still kind of figuring out their double major, even like into their third year. So I will say like you do have time and you don't have to come in knowing exactly what you want to do. And I think it's helpful to kind of let yourself have the space to explore as well, and just see if you would like to double major and see where it takes you.
Great. Thank you. I love that. You don't have to have it all figured out. Right. Right. And how about you, Chloe? Are there any other things you'd like to add?
Yeah, I agree. I figured out my double major way later on, like into third year. It wasn't something that I intended to do, but it was more like as you take classes, for me, there was more overlap. I know her majors don't overlap as much, but mine are pretty similar. So I saw when taking like some of my poli-sci classes that I enjoyed certain things about it, but there was like this different part kind of missing. So when I was taking my crim classes, I found that that kind of like scratched the itch, I guess, that I had in the other fields. So I feel like when you have like a more general interest, UCI has a lot of different majors that kind of go more niche into a general area. So when there's crossover between them, it can be, I would say, a lot easier to get those kind of double majors in similar fields. So yeah, for me, there was just a lot of crossover, and then some of my classes were related to my poli-sci or my crim, and they counted as the same credits. So as I was taking more crim, I realized, oh, I kind of like these classes like also. So yeah, I think just as you go on and take your classes, you can kind of see your different interests. And then from there, you can always add on. So don't feel like you need to figure it out right now. You can be interested in something and also add on a different thing. You don't have to like make a sacrifice.
Okay. I think that's great. Takes the pressure off too. All right, for the next question, I'm gonna hop over to Ashwani. Ashwani, I know you were talking a lot about your son Abi's the resources that he used, specifically like the Entrepreneur Center, and I wanted to know, like, could you talk about what resources your student used for career development, internships, or anything you felt was really useful for him?
Yeah, so Abhi used the Entrepreneur Center at the UCI. So this center encourages a student to be like entrepreneurs, so create their own journey, create their own companies and all that. So he started this company called OpenNote.me with the help of the entrepreneur group, where they mentor them, like provide different resources around it, how to start, give guidance and all that. And it could be like an industry-wide guidance also. So some experts from the industry also come in to help them out. Another thing it helped him was like he got a project with NASA about the Artemis program, on which he's getting to work on the Artemis mission to develop software for the astronaut suites which they're going to wear with augmented reality and kind of very high-tech stuff which they're doing. So, and the professors there at the UCI help him, like they guide him through the process and all to enhance the project and help make the project and all that. So yeah, like a lot of resources are available for the students to learn new stuff and be excel in the areas they are in.
Yeah, I think that something that I always hear students say either kind of at the end of their journey or parents talk about is that there are so many resources on campus for students to utilize that are to their benefit. And I know even Abi, your son, he did like the hackathons and won money to help fund these projects. And it helps connect into, you know, different networks of professors or people all across the world who eventually can help tie them into, you know, maybe what their career will be. So encouraging them to get involved in that way is really great. Thank you. I'm going to actually ask both Domi and Katie a question, which is, you know, looking back, what's something that you wish you knew, or like a piece of advice that you would give to a new parent?
I can go first. Yeah.
Right.
A piece of advice is I think following the different departments at UCI, whether it be the disability or, you know, housing and the rec center. It's just, you see all the opportunities the students are available to the students. And if you know that it's something that would spark their interest, just helping them navigate and just try those things out. There's, like you said, there's just so many resources. Like disability, we use that a lot for my son, and just helping him and reminding him that, you know, there's services out there for him. And then with Chloe, there was things that came up within the community versus like the research or the internships and jobs that were available. And she was able to access all those things because she was keeping up with what was being sent out.
Right. And like we mentioned, the parent newsletter too is a great way, because we take a lot of information from other campus departments too. So I recommend following that. But yes, I certainly agree on that. And how about for you, Katie?
I think what really surprised me was, you know, when your child is first born, you're in parent mode. You're in parent mode for like 18 years, and you know that if they do eventually go off to college, you hopefully have prepared them for it. And I think what ends up happening is you don't realize that there's this natural shift when they go off to college where they need you in a completely different way. And you have to hope and trust that everything you've done to prepare them to go off to college, you know, you've done the best that you can. And it's okay to let them start taking the lead and to kind of just sit back a little bit and just listen to them. A lot of times I have found during Maddie's first year, she wasn't wanting advice from me. She just needed me to listen to what she was going through so she can take the initiative and find a solution for herself, and to kind of discover that process of being independent and not being close to home anymore. And yeah, I think that really surprised and shocked me. I don't know what I expected to, you know, parent from hundreds of miles away, but somehow I thought, you know, I still need to do that. But it was, you know, it was a learning process for me. So I think as a parent, you will also change yourself just as much as they are changing, and it's a good thing. It's very positive, and it's, you know, I learn something new about myself every day. And so yeah, that's something, yeah, I would give a piece of advice to parents. Just, you know, go with the flow.
That's great. I know we talked about too previously, like that it's normal to have that fear, like, oh my gosh, did I do enough? Like having that feeling is totally normal because it's a new setting, and, you know, trusting that the 18 years you put into it, what, you know, you did the right things. They're set up for success. I'm going to turn it back to the students. I want to know, like, how did you adjust from high school to college and kind of like developing that social life? What did you do to help get involved? How did you build like a network of friends, or what things would you kind of suggest to somebody who maybe is shy and doesn't, you know, like what helped you in that regard socially?
I can go first. I think really just accessing all of the resources, especially during the welcome week. It kind of dies down after welcome week. Everyone's just in study mode, focused on maybe more serious things, but welcome week is really the thing you should take advantage of. There's just so much going on, whether that's late night at the Arc, where there's a bunch of like games and sports going on, everyone meeting up, or that's the involvement fair with all the clubs, or it's the APAD, which is the concert at the beginning of the year. There's just every single day, there's like at least 10 things going on. So I would say just walking around and meeting new people, if you're in the dorms or like the apartments, knocking on people's doors and just really making that extra step. It can be scary, but I think just telling yourself that it's like a temporary scary, you just have to kind of make that first leap in that first day or that first week. And then after that, it'll be fine. And just kind of embracing the newness of it all and the scariness, and just kind of enjoying it almost, even though it's kind of terrifying. But yeah, just really using all the resources and taking that step.
Okay, great. Feel the fear and do it anyway. How about you, Maddie?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Chloe said. Definitely maximizing all the opportunities that are available to you in Welcome Week. I think what was also very helpful for me was making an active effort to get to know the people in my dorm because you live with them the whole year, and you're going to see them around a lot. And I made quite a few good friends who were actually just in my hall. And so I found that really helpful, just trying to foster those connections because you see each other in the bathroom, it's nice to chat about your schedule, your day, kind of that sort of thing, especially if you're different majors. It's very fun to hear about kind of how your lives can be different. And in terms of, all the activities that happen in Welcome Week, definitely checking out the Anteater Involvement Fair is super fun because there are so many clubs and organizations accessible to you, and you can meet a lot of great people through them, whether they're more professional clubs or more school or academic clubs or kind of more social or cultural. Those are also a good balance to have. And if you're looking into clubs, I really recommend having a good balance, not making it all too social or too professional or academic, because having one thing can kind of be a little overpowering, and then also not overstretching yourself and trying to sign up for too many clubs, because I found out by doing that, like, you really kind of just jeopardize your schedule, and I found myself kind of becoming a little fried in the first quarter just trying to attend everything because it just wasn't very realistic. So I think also knowing when to dial back a little when things are maybe a little too much for you, and taking a break sometimes from socialization is okay, especially if you find yourself being a little more introverted. It is also okay to just take a moment and be like, hey, maybe I don't need to go out with friends this weekend, or maybe it's okay if I skip that one club meeting, because sometimes with all the things going on, it can be a little overwhelming. So I think an important part of the socialization aspect and kind of the transition is finding a good balance, and making sure you're not overwhelming yourself too much. But definitely don't also hole up in your room, because it's not a fun experience. You're not going to have as much fun, and you're definitely not going to meet as many people.
Certainly. That's great advice. I know we're kind of running out of time here, but all three of these parents are very active and involved. Katie and Ashwani are on our parent executive board. Domi is an incredible volunteer. I do want to ask Ashwani, I know Katie's a brand new member on our parent executive board. Ashwani has been a member for the past year. I do want to ask kind of what drew you to the board and what's been your experience.
Yeah, I was excited to see how the board kind of helps in various programs. Like one of the program which touched me was related to the mental health of the students. And I see that's an issue, like especially after COVID and all that. So students go through that, and then the support the UCI provides and the volunteers and the workers provide for mental health. It was an important one, and it touched me. So I decided to join the PEB to take up that cause and help out in that area.
Awesome. The mental health support. I love that.
For myself, I think it's because I was always involved with the kids' school in some way. And during COVID, I think it took a lot of parents out of that involvement and engagement. And, during those years, those were Maddie's high school years. And the next thing, she was off to college. So I felt like I missed a lot. And I was introduced to Taylor and Marissa and was given an opportunity to explore what the PEB does. And I really love what they were focusing on, the mental health and also career development. That is something that is very near and dear to my heart, because as a first generation going to college, my parents didn't provide me a lot of guidance. So I had to figure it out for myself, and have along the way been informal mentors to many people throughout their lives and careers. So, that's something that I hope to be able to give back in some way at UCI. And that's one of the reasons why I became involved.
That's great. And Domi, how do you feel about volunteerism, and how has it helped your parent experience?
Well, I'm not on the board, so I get to volunteer when it's fun. So I get to sit there at the booth and greet all the new families, which I love a lot. I'm a principal at a school locally, so A lot of my staff and my teachers and my liaisons, their students are new to UCI this year. So I got to say hi to them. So that was exciting for me.
Awesome. I love that. And I promise our board does not sit at a table all the time. Actually, hardly ever. We're more engagement. So don't get scared of that. But yeah, we are down to our final minute. There are so many questions I wish I could continue to ask you all, but I will follow up in our follow-up email, and I'll kind of share some more of the wise words that our parents and students were going to offer, as well as some of the resources that they've said have really made the biggest difference with them. But before we go, I have one more silly little video to show you because I have to, because it's so important as an anteater. So this is just a 1-minute video. Here we go.
Hey, Ramin.
Hey, Sherwin. I wonder if everyone out there actually knows how to do the anteater sign.
Of course they do. It's so easy.
Go ahead, show me.
It's like this, right?
No, that's not.
No? Okay, is it like this with the ears curled a little bit? Like.
No, that's not right.
No?
3 easy steps to doing the anteater sign. First, hand out.
Out.
Next, drop the 2 middle fingers to the thumb.
Okay.
And then the last step is to move that thumb back. That elongates the nose, so you can go zot.
It's all about the zot.
What's a zot?
Zot is the ferocious sound the anteater makes when it strikes.
Okay, should we do it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Zot, zot, zot.
That's all I got.
Funny. All right. Well, I hope that you all practice your zots later tonight with one another. And I hope that you will join us for our Anteater Family Weekend, which is happening at the end of October, October 25th and 26th. It's going to be a really wonderful time. And I want to say welcome to the Anteater family. Getting into UCI is not easy, so you guys should be incredibly proud of yourselves. Thank you again to our amazing alumni and our fantastic parents and current students for sharing your experience and all of your great wise information with all of our incoming parents and families. We look forward to meeting you and learning more about you. And thank you again for joining us today. Welcome to the Anteater family, everybody, and zot, zot, zot.